Previously on Tomb Raider: The Angel of Darkness. And with that, our adventure continues. Hello everybody, Jonathan Wolf here, and welcome back to the Tomb Raider Marathon. Today we're continuing with Tomb Raider: The Angel of Darkness, and in this video we're going to be starting with the Parisian Ghetto, which is a very interesting level because this is a bit of an open area, kind of similar to the main hub areas in Tomb Raider 4. Areas like the Cairo levels or some of the Alexandria levels, because there's a lot of ways you can actually go and do this level. Okay, so here we are where we ended the last video. We woke up in this train, or this abandoned train, and yeah, we are now in the ghetto. In the ghetto, or however the Elvis song goes. Okay, so yeah, in the last video, we actually went to Cavier's apartment, or Madame Cavier, which is a contact that Von Croy gave us at the beginning of the game, and she actually gave us her Von Croy's notebook, and we actually did explore this in the last video. But if we go to the beginning, we actually see that we have two important things. We have to be wary of Aichard, which is a client. And then we have this, which is Louis Bouchard, which is a useful contact where he purchased a handgun. And yeah, basically Bouchard is actually one of the last people that Von Croy contacted before us. And basically the objective of this level is we have to find Bouchard. And that's where, and yeah, basically in this area what we can do is we can actually talk to the locals and just get some information. So let's go ahead and talk to these junkies over here and see what we can get.
Is this your pitch?
All Paris is my pitch. Got any spare change? For a coffee?
Maybe. I need to find a man.
Then look no further, ma petite.
This is a particular man. Bouchard. Louis Bouchard. Know him?
No. Never heard of him.
Even for spare change?
Go away, I never heard of him.
So where could I ask? I could use a coffee. How about you?
Try the Café Metro, in the Place d'Arcade. The owner might be able to help you. Knows all kinds of stuff.
Sounds like my kind of cafe.
What about the spare change, mademoiselle?
I didn't say I had any.
Welcome to Paris.
Okay, so this guy was completely useless, and if you try to talk to him again...
What about the spare change, mademoiselle?
Yeah, he's just gonna repeat that same line, even though we didn't get information, not even for money. So bribery is not an option. Okay, so that guy was useless, and the other guy with him will not budge, or he's not going to talk. You cannot talk to him. And yeah, basically now what we have to do is we have to get out of here and basically go into I guess the ghetto itself. Now right over here we have this grade that we can actually climb. However, you may notice that there's actually a large med pack right over here. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to press triangle to crouch, and we're going to crawl underneath this pipe to get this large med pack. Okay, so now Lara's basically telling us that we can actually climb this grating. And that's exactly what we're going to do. Alright. So let's go and drop over here. And the way to go is we actually want to jump in this hole on this fence. However, if we look over here to the right, you may notice that we actually have some items. And we can actually go ahead and claim these items by making this jump over here. Now, you can only make this jump if you have the leg upgrade that you got back in the industrial rooftops levels. Because yeah, if you remember, in the industrial rooftops, we pushed a box, or we pulled a box that made our legs stronger. Therefore, we can actually make this jump. So yeah, if you didn't get the leg upgrade in the industrial rooftops, you will not be able to make this jump. All right, and here we got the items. However, they're still behind a fence, and there's actually 2 ways you can actually get this item. The correct way to do this is by grabbing the ledge and then just shimmying around the corner right there. However, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna do a jump. I'm gonna grab in the air so I don't crash, and then I'm just gonna walk normally, you know. Yeah, you can just walk through the pole. Now, the reason I'm walking... Oh, and by the way, the items are some euros and a chocolate bar. So that's awesome. And yeah, basically, the reason I'm doing this strategy instead of shimmying on the ledge is because Lara tends to get stuck towards the end of that ledge. And yeah, trying to get around the corner is not that easy to do. And I had an issue where I cannot get to that area, or I cannot get around the corner consistently. Also, yeah, another thing that's not consistent is that, yes, when you try to do a running jump from the edge, sometimes Lara will just fall off, and that's something that you gotta keep wary of, especially when it comes to live or die jumps. Now, right over here, we got this guy. However, we're going to ignore him for now, and we're actually going to go over here into this alleyway to get some more euros. So, yes, we're rich. That's awesome. All right. So now let's go back and let's talk to this guy. And let's see if he knows where Bouchard is.
You looking for anything special, little lady?
So what are you, a city guide?
That's right. I'm a city guide, all tastes and interests catered for.
Good. I need directions. I'm trying to find a man called Bouchard. Do you know him?
That's not a healthy kind of question to be asking.
Don't tell me Paris is dangerous.
Oh, we got all kinds of rough stuff here in Paris, including our own serial killer. You heard of the Monstrum, huh? You heard of him?
Okay, so here we got another choice we can make. However, unlike the Café one, where if you're rude, she will not give you the notebook. In pretty much every conversation throughout the entire game, you can actually respond whatever you want, except for one time, which I will mention in the next video, for the record. But yeah, it really doesn't matter which option you choose. But I'm gonna be nice because I'm always nice in these types of games. Although, to be fair, there's really no bad answer, but...
What do you really know about the Monstrum?
Not much. The killings are very messy, grisly, no one's safe.
Even Bouchard?
Lady, no one, no exceptions. Have you heard what the Monstrum does to the victims?
So how do I contact Bouchard?
He won't have time for casual callers. Been having staff problems at his club, I hear.
Bouchard runs a club?
Yeah. Le Serpent Rouge, flashy joint.
Why should losing staff be such a big deal?
Because these staff are dying on the job, messily. No one knows why or how.
You don't think Bouchard's up to handling it?
Keep your voice down. Bouchard can handle all he needs to, but this is something different, something creepy. His people didn't die pretty. It's got him really shaken.
Is it the Monstrum?
Who knows for sure? I just tried to keep my nose clean. You should too.
So you've no idea where Bouchard is?
No.
Well, I'm sure someone does. I'll ask around.
Yeah, do that. Why don't you try Café Metro?
What's at Café Metro?
Nothing, man. Only the biggest loser in Paris. It's a joke. Forget it. Let me show you some of our local specialties.
No thanks.
Having to keep low, eh? That's hard. Especially with the cops being so trigger-happy.
Should I give Bouchard your regards when I find him?
No, don't do that. But if you are at a loose end, look me up. I'm sure we could find something diverting for you. You know, something special.
See you around.
Well, that's a very poor way to hit on Lara. Good lord, man. Okay, so after talking to him, you may have noticed that on the bottom right corner we did have an icon of the notebook. And basically, every time you see that every time you see that icon, it basically means that we now have something new in the notebook. And as you can see, we have Find Bouchard's Club, Le Serpent Rouge. Alright, so now we have to go ahead and find this club. And the way to go, and yeah, basically to the right of this guy, there's actually a door. And, oh hey, I found it, look at that. There it is, the Serpent Rouge. However, yeah, the door is shut, so we cannot go inside. And, yeah, let's just talk to her and discuss later.
Not a lot of passing trade at this hour.
It's early yet. Move along, ma chère. You make the place look crowded.
Have you worked in this neighborhood for long?
What can I do for you, chérie?
I'm looking for someone you might know. Name of Bouchard.
You won't find him here, ma chère. He did run the club across the road, Le Serpent Rouge, but had to move premises. There was a lot of trouble, I heard. Things needed to lie quiet for a while.
And no one knows where he is.
What do you need with a dangerous individual like Bouchard?
I'm trying to track down a friend's movements.
Lost, is he?
Dead. But he made contact with Bouchard before he checked out.
Tell you what, there's 2 guys who used to work at Le Serpent Rouge.
So Bouchard didn't lose everybody?
No. These 2 left before the troubles closed the place down. One's a miserable old devil called Bernard, who was the janitor there. He hangs about in the park sometimes.
And the other one?
The other one, Pierre, worked as a barman. Makes bad deals that backfire on him. He runs the café at the Place d'Arcade now. Café Métro. You never know, might be worth a shot.
Better than anything I have so far. Thanks. I didn't catch your name.
Janice. Everyone knows me around here. Look, be careful, chérie. Bouchard's a mean operator, and he's been targeted hard recently.
Does anyone know who's causing Bouchard all this grief, or why?
No, or they're not saying. The monstrum has got everyone too scared to talk.
I'd have thought Bouchard would be geared up for trouble.
He can handle it all right. No one better. But the way his people has been dying, so ugly. And that poor woman.
What woman?
Someone called Carvier. She worked at the Louvre, it says on the radio. I don't want to talk about it.
Carvier?
No, you watch out, my chère. There is a lot of sickos loose on the streets.
Yeah.
That's okay. Some of us like it that way.
Okay, so after talking to Janice, the streetwalker, yeah, let's go with that. Basically, she gave us two key piece information. The first one is that Kavya is now dead. Kind of weird that she just dropped the bombshell like that, but whatever. But the second one is something that is now embedded in our notebook, and that is to find Café Metro in Palace d'Arcade and find Bouchard. No, not you. Find Bouchard's new premises. Oh, here we go. Find Bernard, the ex-janitor at the club, and contact cafe owner Pierre, ex-barman at the club. Now, these two things are very important because after this point, this level will now be split into two, or two sort of, but I'll explain what I mean later. Now, before we continue on, right over here to the right where Janice is, there are some euros. And right over here to the left, right in this door will actually lead us to the pawn shop. Now the valuable items that we've gotten, like the doubloons, the necklace, the ring, and the cognac, basically these things do absolutely nothing. However, we can actually sell them at the pawn shop for money. However, I'm actually not going to sell them yet because there's still some valuable items we can get, and I'm actually going to get those things. I'm actually going to sell all of the things I can at once. So yeah, just to avoid doing unnecessary trips. Now, in this first area of the ghetto, if we go near these sewer drains or sewer lids, you can actually interact with them, and you can actually go inside the sewers to actually enter a portion of Bouchard's hideout. Yeah, spoilers a bit. However, there really isn't any... You really don't have to go into these sewers. However, if you want to get some treasure and some money, you actually want to go into that area. However, or you want to go into the sewers. However, I'm actually not going to do that in this video. Instead, I'm actually going to do... What I'm actually going to do in this video is I'm going to do the... quote-unquote the bare minimum in the ghetto, because what I'm going to do for the ghetto is I'm going to do both routes of the ghetto. So okay, first off, after the load screen, you can actually go into the sitting area to collect some euros, and if we continue across to the other side, I wish there was a sprint button, but this is the speed that we have, so I guess we have to rely on the good old running and jumping. And yeah, right over here in the corner, we do have some more euros. And right over here, we have this map. And as you can see, right next to us is the Café Metro. In fact, the Café is right over there. So yeah, as you can see, Café Metro. Okay, so here's the thing about this level. There are 2 routes you can actually do for this level, and essentially the routes really don't have a lot of things to do, because the main difference between the routes is how the routes begin and how the routes end. Now, here's the thing. If you decide to do one route, you cannot do the other one. So it's not something like River Ganges, where you can actually do one route and then you can do something special to do the other route. So yeah, basically this is something more similar to... I'm trying to think of a past level, but... But yeah, basically the idea for this level is that there's 2 ways you can do this level, and the only thing that changes is the way you start it and the way you end the routes, and everything in between is basically the exact same. Now that being said, what I am going to do is I'm going to save my game, and basically what I am going to do is, for this video, I'm going to show you the Pierre route. Now, if you've been watching my Tomb Raider walkthroughs, you may know that I always do the non-canon route first, meaning that the Pierre route is the route that I will not do for stick with for the walkthrough. And there's actually 2 reasons as to why. The first one is that if you do the Pierre route, you will miss on a body upgrade, or a upper body strength upgrade. So if you want to get Lara as strong as she can possibly be, you have to do the Bernard route. The second reason I'm actually doing the Pierre route first is because if you do the Pierre route, you do get more healing. You do get access to more healing items. However, if you do the Bernard route, you get access to more treasure and an upper body strength, and those rewards are more valuable to me than healing items, considering that I'm basically trying to beat this game without using healing items. So makes sense, And yeah, basically what I'm gonna do for this video is I'm going to do the Pierre route, and then on the next video I'm going to do the Bernard route. However, the one key difference I will do in this and the next video is that for this video I will show you the Serpent Rouge level. However, in the next video I will not, and there's a very specific reason as to why, and I'll explain when we get to the Serpent Rouge. But first, let's go into the cafe and let's talk to Pierre. Anyway, after seeing that customer right there, let's go ahead and talk to him.
Are you Pierre?
Possibly. What can I get you?
Information.
Really? Well, everyone wants something for nothing.
It needn't be for nothing. We could trade.
Trade?
You used to work at the Serpent Rouge. I need to find your ex-boss, Bouchard.
You don't look like police.
No, I don't. But I do deal with problems. Sort them out.
And run errands, no doubt.
If need be. And they pay well enough.
What sort of problems?
What sort of problems do you have? Any situations need clearing up? Difficulties removed?
In exchange for information about Louis Bouchard. That's dangerous information.
I'm a dangerous girl, and right now I'm losing patience.
I do have a situation that needs tidying. A retrieval job. Something I forgot to pick up from Le Serpent Rouge when I left in a hurry. It's mine, and I want it back.
Why don't you just pick it up yourself?
2 guesses.
Bouchard? The monstrum?
Don't joke about the monstrum. Bouchard ran a lot of operations there. The place will be staked out.
Just tell me where the item is in the club.
It's small. Small enough to fit inside one of the stage lights. The one that doesn't work.
That's it? Okay. I can work with that. How do I get into the club?
With this. This will get you in behind the stage area at the back. Return what's mine to me here, and I'll put you in touch with Louis Bouchard.
I'm sure he'll be glad to hear from you again.
He isn't going to. I just tell you where to find him. Then it's up to you.
Okay. And if this doesn't work out, I know where to find you. Don't I, Pierre?
Why are you gonna be such a bitch, Laura? Good lord. Also, I love how he had the phone on his hand. That's actually pretty nice. It actually makes cool that, you know, depending when you talk to the NPC, they will actually have like stuff they're interacting with. That's actually really cool. All right, so we got an update with our notebook. So we got retrieve the box at the Serpent Rouge in broken lighting rig. All right, and Pierre, and after talking to Pierre, he will give us the bartender's key, which we'll use to access the Serpent Rouge. Now, yeah, that guy's not gonna be important. Now, here's another thing. Depending if you talk to either Pierre or Bernard, you cannot get access to the to their other routes. So essentially, if you start talking to one character, you have to stick with that character until the end. Now, one interesting thing about this game, which I don't know if it's actually a thing in the remaster, which I'm not going to know because, you know, I haven't played it yet and I'm not going to play it, is that once you get past a loading screen, almost every pickup that is not a valuable item will actually reset in the ghetto. So the money that is in this area and the money that we got and the money and the healing items we got in the train area, they will actually respawn. So if you want, you can actually just go back and forward and grind for infinite money, which is kind of insane. Although, to be fair, money is really not that much of a thing that we have to worry about in this game. At least from what I remember. Okay, so right here we got the Serpent Rouge. However, we actually need to go into the back. And as you can see right here, we got some more euros. And yeah, that guy's not going to be important. I don't know why they keep showing him, but he's not going to be that important, right? But yeah, right there we got even more euros. And yeah, basically the door that we can open with the key is this one right here where that guy came from. And yeah, with that said, let's go ahead and use the key and enter the Serpent Rouge. And I have to say, this is actually a very good level. I actually really do enjoy this level. It's a bit short, but it's still pretty enjoyable. Also, why is Laura looking up to the right? I don't get it. Or why is she facing right? I don't get it. Okay, so in this flyby, we're going to see this guy just walking around. And basically, what you can do is you can actually sneak up to him, and you can actually knock him out. Or you can just shoot him to death. It really doesn't matter what way you do. However, we're going to be stealthy. And something you can do, and a very easy way to take him out is you can actually flip the switch to turn off the lights, which is going to cause this guy to come over here and investigate. Now we can actually go inside this room to actually hide from this guy. And yeah, basically we're just gonna sneak around him. Now you want to be careful because you cannot knock out enemies while they're moving. They have to be standing still. Okay, let's go ahead and sneak up to him and press the action button to knock him out. Also, he didn't drop his gun. That is odd. Oh, there he is. So yeah, right. So yeah, basically these guys will actually drop their guns, and by picking up their gun, you will actually get their ammunition. So yeah, we got more ammunition for our gun, or our default gun, which is the MV9. Now we also have the Vector 3 R35. However, as you can see by the bottom screen, we don't have any ammo. And you can actually tell you have ammo because with the MB9, we can actually see that we have the ammo menu right here. And as you can see, we have 2 clips. And yeah, basically similar to picking up the shotgun in Tomb Raider 4, that actually applies to more ammunition. Okay, so where that guy was, we do have a new weapon. And this is, I want to say it's called the Desert Ranger. And yeah, basically this is another weapon we can actually use. As you can see, we got the Desert Ranger. Advanced 50 caliber semi-automatic medium range. So that's awesome. And we're actually going to equip it because this gun is actually very, very powerful. More powerful than the MV9. But in this desk, we also have a key. We have some ammo for the Desert Ranger and a chocolate bar. Now, you may have also seen it, but right outside over here, we do have even more ammunition for the Desert Ranger. So let's go ahead and pick this guy up. And with that said, let's go ahead and prepare our weapon. Although, not really, because we're not going to use it yet. And the key that we got, which is in items, we have the stage door key, which will give us access to the dance floor. And yeah, basically the key goes into this door right here. Now we want to be careful because as soon as we open this door, there's going to be a guy that he might actually see us, or that might see us. So let's see where he is. But yeah, as soon as you enter this room, there's going to be a. Okay then. Yeah, there's going to be that guy, and there's also going to be a guy over here. Now, the more important guy you want to worry about is this guy, because this guy tends to see you more often. Because, yeah, that guy will just run around over there. Although, yeah, he is not standing still. But yeah, let's go ahead and wait for him to stand still. And I think this guy's going to see me. Oh, yeah, he saw me because I was actually moving fast. Alright, but let's just go ahead and just get on his face and just kill him real quick. And yeah, 2 shots to the head at very close range will actually kill this guy. And yeah, very easy way to take those guys out. And yeah, the best way to take these guys out that are here on the... Oh, whoops. That are here on the ground floor is you can actually just stay over here and wait for them to just come to you. So it's basically the same strategy as gun enemies in Tomb Raider 2 and to an extent Tomb Raider 3.
This door is locked. I'll need a key.
So yeah, as you can see, we have a locked door right here. And before we actually, do this level properly, we're actually going to explore this bottom ground. Now, before we continue on, I guess I should mention this real quick, but... okay, so this is the door we came from. However, right over here we got another door. And coming through this door, we do have some items. Or we do have a item. But yeah, right over here on this corner, we do have some cognac. And then if we go down this ladder, we will get some items. Now, I'm actually not going to completely explore this area because this path right here is the path you would have come from if you decided to do the Bernard route, which is the route that I'm going to show in the next video. And basically, once you get to this open area, this is where the two starting routes actually converge. So whether you do the Bernard route or the Pierre route, you have to do this level normally. So again, like I mentioned, the only difference between the Bernard and Pierre route is the way you start the route and the way you end it. Because yeah, in this entire area, you basically, because yeah, no matter what route you do, you basically have to do this level normally, essentially. Okay, so right over here behind the DJ stage, we do have some pills. And what we can do is we can actually just climb up here to get to the other side, because who needs stairs, you know what I'm saying? And yeah, right over here we do have a vintage disc that we can actually sell at the pawn shop. And right over here next to this alien sign, we do have a lever. Now, I'm not going to flip this lever yet, because as soon as we pull this lever, we're actually going to spawn some enemies. So instead, what we're going to do is we're actually going to go behind the bar, and we're actually going to press this button, because what it's going to do is going to lift a compartment area that is going to give us access to 2 shotgun shells, or two pickups worth of shotgun shells. And in this bar, we also have a chocolate bar and some more cognac. And another chocolate bar. My goodness. Alright, so now that we've done that, we are now ready to press the button. And yeah, basically, now we're going to have some music going on. So get ready to dance, people. Alright. Get ready to dance, people. Alright. Let's hide behind this box and wait for this guy to come to me. Pop him in the face twice. And once you shoot him, you're actually going to spawn another guy. Ow. He got me. You bastard. Alright. Let's wait for this guy to come to me. And something you want to be careful when it comes to fighting enemies is that, similar to how, okay, like I mentioned in the last video, if you shoot enemies at point blank range, you'll actually do more damage. However, the same applies to enemies when they deal damage to you, because yeah, if enemies shoot you at point blank, they can do insane amount of damage, and that is something you want to be careful of, because yeah, these guys can kill you if you're not careful and you're not used to the controls or the combat in this game. These guys can kill you very easily. Okay, but yeah, now what we have to do is we have to climb up, and as we climb up, we're actually going to spawn more enemies. And we can actually get even more ammunition. And get ready to dance even more, which is awesome. Alright, and right over here, as you can see, we got this staircase that is actually blocked. So we have to find so we have to do the hard way to get up, because, you know, this is a classic Tomb Raider game, you know? And the way to continue up is we actually want to push this box all the way to the end right over here. And then we can actually climb up to it and then get on the scaffolding of these lights. Now you do want to be careful, because as you walk, some part of the lights is actually going to fall off. Now one thing you can do is you can actually, if you're fast enough, you can actually just cross it no problem. But if it falls down, then you have to just do a jump, and oh god. Yeah, if you jump early, you have to grab. Alright, so let's get this guy. Let's collect his gun. And actually, before we pick up the other items, yeah, as you can see, there's actually a guy over there. So let's get in his face. Oh, I missed. Okay. And yeah, as you can see, we have the we have the gun on the railing. However, Lara is actually smart enough to actually pick it up normally, so that's pretty awesome. Alright, and here we have a large med pack, and right here on the end where we kill that first guy, there are some bandages. Now, another thing that happened by pulling the lever down there, what it also did is that it caused this thing to actually start going up and down, because if you decided to come over here without flipping that lever, that thing will actually be at the highest point, meaning that you cannot jump and grab it. So yeah, basically what you want to do is you want to wait for this thing to be in the bottom, so you can actually jump and grab it. And then what you want to do is we want to go to the other side. Okay, hang on. No. Don't walk. Don't do that, Lara Croft. Okay. Yeah, we actually want to go to this side to actually climb this structure, so we can actually get on the top floor. All right, and then I'm gonna walk over here, or sidestep over here. And I'm gonna wait for this thing to stop because, yeah, I want to take it slow. All right, let's turn a bit. Go over here, and then we can just do a jump into this area. All right, and right over here we have this bridge that is not up, so that's unfortunate. All right, and right here we get a ladder. Now, if you can see down there, you can actually see that we have some ammo for the Desert Ranger. And trying to get that ammo can be kind of tricky, but there's actually a very easy way to do this. So what you want to do is you just want to slide off here, then press the action button, and then what you want to do is you want to just shimmy around the corner and just do this normally. So yeah, with that said, let's just go ahead and once we get to this point, we can actually climb up and we can collect the Desert Ranger ammunition. Now, if you want, you can just drop down and climb up again. However, one thing you can do is you can actually aim at the railing right over there. Now, let me position myself better. And then what you can do is you can just do a standing jump and grab. I believe that if you do a running jump, you'll actually make it across. You'll actually make it past the railing. But I just like to do a standing jump because I feel more safer. But yeah, once we make that jump, we're just gonna go ahead and climb back up, and then we're going to slide off normally and then just jump over here, and then we're just gonna do a side jump. I mean, you don't have to do a side jump, but I want to be fancy. All right, and for this part, we just want to do a standing jump and grab the ledge. And we can just shimmy on to the left. Now, if you explored that past area, you may notice that there was actually a container you can actually open. However, yeah, there's actually a container like right over... Oh, I keep pressing the wrong analog stick. Right over there, just where the slope is. There's actually a container you can open to inspect things where the light is. Now, if you take a look at these lights, you may notice that all of them are basically the same, except for this one, which is a bit more, it's a bit more discolored, and it's a different color. But yeah, basically, if you remember Pierre, he said that he hit a box in a lighting rig that is actually damaged. And yeah, basically by process of elimination, you can tell that this one, because of the different coloration, yeah, this thing is actually the broken lighting rig. So basically what we have to do is we have to position this lighting rig over there on the catty corner to the other lighting rig, so that we can actually inspect it and collect the box that Pierre was asking for. Now, before we do anything, what we want to do is we want to go over here and we want to push this bridge so that Lara...
I feel stronger now.
I feel stronger now. Nice. Alright. And as you can see, we get the camera angle saying that, hey, now that you got this... And yeah, as you can see, there's the container that I was talking about. So yeah, basically what we have to do, and yeah, by the way, you need the leg upgrade to actually open this door. So yeah, make sure you actually remember that. Now right over here we got a lever. However, this lever is really not that useful. However, right down here on the bottom, you can barely see it, but because of the blue flash, you can actually see it very quickly. There's actually a key over here. And this key goes all the way on that locked door that was at the bottom, where Lara said that she needs a key. So basically what we're going to do now is we're actually going to go all the way to the bottom of the nightclub, or all the way to the bottom of this room, and just go ahead and see what's behind that door. Alright, so let's open the door. And yeah, basically we just have to get down. Now the safest way to get down is basically you just want to backtrack the way you came. So from this point, what you can do is you can actually do a standing jump. Now you do want to be careful, because when doing standing jumps, it's actually more difficult in this game to turn as you jump forward. So this game does have a bit of Castlevania syndrome, where as soon as you do a forward jump, your jump will be locked, and you cannot, you know, continue on with the game, or you cannot change direction. I mean, you can, as you can see right there, I'm actually turning to like the left. However, it's a bit more strict, essentially. But yeah, the key that we got goes in this door. And behind this door, there is some money. And that is literally all that it is. So if you want a couple of euros, yeah, you can just go over here and get rich. But like I mentioned, money is really not that important in this game. I mean, it is, but it's not that make or break it element. It's not like you have to pay every NPC you see, you know? Alright, but now that we got the euros, now we can actually go. Now we have to go back to, yeah, as you can see, I made the full jump. Yeah, now that we got the money, we can actually go back through this door, which, by the way, this door was, you cannot open this door from this side when you originally came through here. But yeah, now we can actually go up here to actually operate the lighting rigs. And I didn't mention, but in the bottom of this ladder, there was actually a chocolate bar. Alright, so let's go over here. And right in this console, we do have two levers. Now, the lever on the left will actually operate the lighting rigs. So as you can see, they're actually changing position. So what you want to do is you want to pull the lever twice. And then what you want to do is you want to pull, as soon as you are done with that lever, with the lever in the left, you want to pull the lever in the right. Because the lever in the right, what it's going to do is going to move the lighting rig to that container so that you can actually inspect inside the rig. So now that we got that out of the way, or now that we got that set up, we can actually climb this ladder one more time, or climbing up one more time, and we can actually inspect this container and actually claim the box that Pierre was looking for. Yeah, as you can see, there's the box right there. Alright, and with that, we are pretty much done with the Serpent Rouge. Now, as soon as you pick up the box, you're also going to spawn a guy, which he's shooting me through the window, which, yeah, makes total sense in the world. But yeah, let's go ahead and dispose of him. And he actually came from this door, which you can actually open to go back to the Parisian ghetto. So yeah, once we actually go through this door, we are now back in the area where Janice is. And yeah, basically, we just have to get down. And we can just get down safely. And also, similar to Tomb Raider 4, every time you go through a loading screen, you will actually get your health back. So that's actually pretty good to know. But yeah, as you can see right over here, Janice is all the way over there. Actually, we have to go over here, so let's just go over here. And remember, because of a loading screen, we can now we can actually reclaim the money, even though I don't know why I'm reclaiming the money, because I'm going to reload the game anyway at the end of this part. But yeah, basically, once we got the box, we can now go to Pierre and basically finish the Pierre route. So yeah, let's go into Pierre, and we can just finish off the Pierre route.
Everything go okay?
It's quiet in here. Your voice really carries.
Don't mess me about.
You were right about the place being staked out. There were gunmen all over the place. No sign of the monstrum, though.
You got it. Ah!
Now, a little matter of Bouchard's whereabouts.
Bouchard. Yes,
You aren't going to disappoint me, are you? You don't want to see my dangerous side?
No. It's just that someone else was asking for him. Just after you left.
Asking for Bouchard?
Yes. The customer who was sat in the corner, reading his paper. I couldn't tell him anything, naturally. But he may have overheard us.
You know, you talk real loud. It's hard not to notice it.
Okay. Take it easy. Are we going to deal?
Only if you behave.
All right. Bouchard is lying low. I know someone who can show you where.
You can trust them? This person you know?
Just about. Name of Francine. She's my ex.
Reassuring.
This is her address. And the code for the gate.
And she can point me to Bouchard? You sure?
Oh, absolutely. She knows a discreet route to the back of the premises.
Discreet. Translation. Dangerous.
Nothing in Paris is safe. But this route will get you where you want to go. Please, it's arranged. She's expecting you.
I hope this arrangement works out, Pierre. I'd hate for you to become a personal problem that I have to come back and tidy up.
Why are you such a bitch, Lara? Good lord. Okay, so after we finish the Pierre route, we do have something new in the notebook. We have contact Francine, 17 Rue Dominique, code 15328. And if we check our items, we're going to see that we also have a piece of paper, which is the cafe owner's contact. And yeah, it's basically the same as what we wrote on the notebook. And yeah, with that said, we are almost done with the Pierre route. We do have to visit Francine to fully finish the Pierre route. Okay, now, here's something you want to keep in mind of, is that whether you're doing the Bernard or Pierre route, make sure that you fully explore the ghetto before moving to either before moving on to the next level. Because if you do, because when you move to the next area, you cannot go back to the ghetto until you meet Bouchard. And to jump the gun a bit here, once you get back to the ghetto after talking to Bouchard, you cannot sell the items in the pawn shop. I'm not going to say why, but I'm just going to give you a warning that if you have valuable items, make sure you go to the pawn shop and sell them. If you don't remember, if you want to know where the pawn shop is to the left. You want to go to the left where Francine is, or where Janice is in the first part of the ghetto. However, because I'm not going to do that yet, because I'm basically going to do, like I said, the bare minimum, we're actually going to go over here. And yeah, basically what you want to do is, as soon as you get out of the cafe, you actually want to go straight into the street. And right over here, we have Francine's apartment. And as you can see, we got Rue Dominique, number 17. So yeah, if we check our items, or basically our notebook is much more clear. We have 15328. So yeah, let's go ahead and interact with the notepad, and so we have number pad 15328. And in case you're wondering, to move around with to move Lara's hand, you actually press the D-pad instead of the circle pad. All right, and here we are inside Francine's apartment, and yeah, basically in this area there's nothing, but there is some. But yeah, basically as soon as you go through this door, we're going to leave the ghetto and go into Saint Aichard's graveyard. And yeah, basically, as you can see right here, we have good old Francine.
Bouchard is in the old church. You need to find the mausoleum in the churchyard. It leads down into the church basement.
Is this the best way?
It's the only way past the doorman. Watch out for the ledges. They are dangerous.
Where isn't these days?
Welcome to Paris.
So yeah, and there we go. We just talked to Francine, which has the same model as Janice. And one thing you can do, which is pretty funny, you can actually borrow stuff from her apartment. And yeah, basically in this large drawer, in the leftmost drawer, we do have a stopwatch. And I want to say on the rightmost drawer, we do have a chocolate bar. Oh no, we do have some pills. But yeah, as you can see, but yeah, we can actually just take stuff from her. Although, like I mentioned, because you cannot go back to the ghetto and sell items at the pawn shop anymore for reasons I'll get into in the next video. Yeah, the sports watch will basically stay on your inventory pretty much for the entirety of for the rest of the game. So, yeah, that's a bit of a interesting. That's a bit of a weird aspect about the level, or about that stopwatch. Alright, as you can see, here we are in Saint Aichard's graveyard. And yeah, down there is actually the main level. Now, to get down here, or to get down there, what you want to do is you basically want to make this running jump. Now, you may notice down there we have a red flash. And down there we have some shotgun shells. And those shotgun shells can be very difficult to get. However, yeah, we're not going to get them until next video. Because, yeah, next video we're actually going to do this level. Basically, in the next video, we're going to basically finish the ghetto. Because what I'm going to do for the next video is I'm going to show you the Bernard route. Plus everything else that I didn't show in the ghetto. However, I'm actually going to skip doing the Serpent Rouge because, like I mentioned, it doesn't matter what route you do. The level is basically the exact same. Okay, so for this part, you want to be careful because as you run, the floor is going to collapse on you. And, yeah, you want to be careful. And if you're not quick enough, you just want to jump and grab the ledge if needed. But, yeah, once we get to this ledge, we want to press the action button to hang from the ledge, and then we want to get to where this red pipe is. And this red pipe, you can actually get to this pipe even if you do the Bernard route. Also, Laura, why are you acting dumb? Yeah, sometimes the input can be very precise because you may think, okay, I have to aim down to the right, but no, you just have to press down. And once we get to the end, we press the action button. And as soon as we get to this point, we are now in the normal route of the Saint Aichard's Church. And this right here is where the end of the Bernard and Pierre route converge. So yeah, basically, it doesn't matter which route you do, you now have to do this level normally, and basically from this point on, we are actually going to just keep playing through the game. However, like I mentioned before, I'm going to cut this video off, and next time we meet on the Tomb Raider Marathon, we're going to go back to the Parisian ghetto, and we're actually going to do the Bernard route. Because, like I mentioned, doing the Bernard route will actually give you an upper body strength upgrade. And I care more about that than picking up extra bundles of health and a treasure that I'm never going to use. So, yeah, with that said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for watching this episode of the Tomb Raider Marathon. Next time we meet, we're going to go back in time and we're going to do the Parisian ghetto in its entirety. But until then, this is Jonathan Wolf, and I will see you all in the next video. Take it easy, everyone.